What if I told you that reality only exists when you're watching? That the universe waits silent, undefined until you observe it? It sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But over 2 centuries ago, a simple experiment forever altered how we understand the fabric of existence. And even today, most people still don't grasp the cosmic secret it uncovered. In the year 1801, something extraordinary happened, something that would quietly shake the foundations of science and spiritual understanding alike. A man named Thomas Young conducted a deceptively simple experiment, unaware that it would eventually become the cornerstone of quantum mechanics and open a door into the very nature of reality itself. Even now, we live in a world powered by technologies born from this discovery: lasers, microchips, quantum computing, yet we continue to deny or overlook the deeper truth it revealed. This is the story of the double-slit experiment, a scientific inquiry that didn't just answer questions, but asked new ones far more profound. Questions like, what is reality? What is the role of human consciousness, and are we unknowingly creating the world around us by the sheer act of observing it? Let's travel back in time to meet the man behind this groundbreaking revelation. Thomas Young, born in 1773 in England, was no ordinary scientist. He was a true Renaissance mind, a polymath fluent in multiple disciplines, a physicist, physician, linguist, and even an Egyptologist. He contributed to everything from optics and acoustics to deciphering ancient scripts like the Rosetta Stone. In his time, Young was affectionately called the last man who knew everything, a title that reflects his boundless curiosity and genius. But it was his passion for optics, the nature of light, that led him to perform the experiment that changed everything. At the heart of science at the time was a burning debate. Was light a wave, or was it made of tiny particles like Newton had argued? Young set out to settle this question through an ingenious setup. Since electricity was still in its infancy, he used a simple candle as his light source. The candle's light passed through a small hole to form a narrow beam. That beam then reached a screen with two closely spaced slits, and behind those slits stood a plain white wall, ready to record whatever pattern the light would leave behind. Now, if light were composed of particles like bullets fired from a gun, you'd expect to see two distinct lines on the screen, each one directly behind a slit. But what Young saw instead was something astonishing. Instead of two bands, he observed a series of light and dark lines, an interference pattern, like ripples overlapping on the surface of a pond. This could only mean one thing: light was behaving like a wave, passing through both slits at once and interfering with itself. With that single observation, Young proved that light wasn't just a stream of particles, it was a wave reshaping the scientific worldview. It was a triumph, a revelation. But the story doesn't end there. Fast forward over 100 years. The age of quantum physics had dawned. New tools and sharper minds revisited Young's experiment, this time using electrons, photons, and other particles fired one by one at the slits. What they found defied logic. Even when sent individually, the particles still formed the same interference pattern. Somehow a single particle was acting like a wave passing through both slits simultaneously, as if it existed in multiple places at once. But then the real mystery emerged. When scientists placed detectors near the slits to observe which path the particle took, something shocking happened. The interference pattern vanished. The particle no longer acted like a wave. It behaved like a simple particle, again passing through only one slit. Let that sink in. The mere act of observation changed the outcome. This stunning phenomenon became known as wave function collapse. It was as if the particle existed in a cloud of infinite possibilities, a state called superposition, until someone watched. Then, in an instant, one possibility became real and the others faded away. The universe, it seemed, was not fixed or objective. It was waiting for a conscious observer to define it. This shook the scientific world to its core. It meant that reality at its most fundamental level was not separate from us. It was responsive to our attention. And it begged a chilling, powerful question. What role does human consciousness play in shaping the universe? Suddenly, ancient mystical teachings didn't seem so mystical after all. As Hermes Trismegistus once said, as above, so below. The micro reflects the macro. The mind reflects the cosmos. Let's make this even more vivid. Imagine standing before a closed door. Behind it could be a dog, a cat, or nothing at all. Until you open the door, all possibilities exist. It's only when you look that one reality takes form. The quantum world behaves exactly like that. Before we observe it, a particle exists in superposition all outcomes at once. But when we observe, we collapse the wave function. We collapse potential into reality. Now here's the life-changing part. If this is how the universe works at the quantum level, what does that say about our thoughts, our focus, our attention? It means that whatever we give our attention to, we begin to solidify. We begin to create. Think about it. When you obsess over problems, you give those problems strength. You observe them into being. But if you shift your focus to solutions, growth, and opportunity, that is what begins to manifest. A person drowning in financial worry who constantly thinks about debt strengthens that version of reality. But if they redirect their focus, how can I create income? How can I offer value? How can I move forward? Then doors begin to open. Why? Because attention is creation. This is the deeper spiritual teaching hidden within the double slit experiment. The universe is mental. As the Hermetic principle states, all is mind. Reality is not something that happens to us. It's something that happens through us. Thomas Young's humble experiment wasn't just a physics breakthrough. It was a cosmic revelation. It revealed that the universe is not a machine. It is an alive, responsive field of infinite potential. And you, the observer, are the artist shaping it with every thought, every intention, every focused gaze. In our last section, we saw how the double slit experiment shattered the illusion of a fixed objective universe and revealed consciousness as a key player in shaping reality. But if observation affects reality, then what is reality made of? To truly understand how we create our world, we must now go even deeper beyond atoms, beyond particles, beyond the known. Imagine holding a magnifying glass to your skin. Zoom in and you'll see cells. Zoom further and you'll discover molecules dancing in harmony. Go even deeper and you'll observe atoms, tiny worlds of protons and neutrons clustered in a nucleus, orbited by electrons moving at unimaginable speeds. But we don't stop there. Delving further beyond atoms, we find quarks, elementary particles, that form protons and neutrons themselves. It's here that modern physics reaches a mysterious threshold. At this level, reality becomes less solid and more abstract, more like vibration than matter. From this point, science branches into two primary interpretations. One suggests that beneath the quarks lie superstrings, tiny vibrating loops of energy, forming the building blocks of everything. The other highlights the Higgs boson and its corresponding field, the invisible energy field that gives mass to all particles. The moment energy interacts with the Higgs field, mass appears. But what lies beneath even that? What is the source behind the source? The answer, according to quantum physics, is something astounding. The quantum vacuum, an infinite ocean of undifferentiated primordial energy. A boundless field that underlies all of existence. Everything we perceive as form, structure, or substance emerges from this invisible sea of energy. When this raw potential energy comes into contact with the Higgs field, mass is born. That mass becomes quarks, which become protons, which form atoms, which make molecules, which form cells, which become organs, which finally give rise to bodies, human or otherwise. It's a breathtaking chain of emergence. All things, stars, mountains, oceans, you and me can trace their origin to the quantum vacuum. It is not a metaphor. It is scientific reality. Everything that exists is either an emanation or a self-organization of this cosmic field. And this is the key truth. There is nothing outside the quantum vacuum. It is not just in everything. It is everything. This understanding is vital because when we realize that even our own bodies are manifestations of the quantum vacuum, we begin to perceive ourselves not as isolated beings, but as expressions of an infinite intelligence. This is not spiritual poetry. It is physics. The quantum vacuum is not matter. It is pure energy devoid of form, mass, or boundaries. Mass appears only when energy interacts with the Higgs field, yet both the energy and the field emerge from the vacuum. To grasp this is to awaken. And once we truly grasp it, the illusions we live under, fear, separation, lack begin to dissolve. Because knowing that you are made of the same infinite field that creates stars changes everything. This pure essence, this cosmic fingerprint within each of us is what ancient traditions have called the divine spark. It is your unique imprint of the source, and yet paradoxically it is not separate from the source at all. The spark is the quantum vacuum. It is the all within you. To realize this is what enlightenment truly means. Enlightenment isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering what you already are. But it's not enough to understand this mentally. You must feel it, because the mind alone cannot comprehend infinity. Only the heart, the center of feeling, can touch the eternal. Without feeling this inner truth, the illusion of separation continues. We continue to believe we are just isolated minds trapped in bodies, fighting for survival in a world of scarcity. But when you feel that everything, every atom, every breath, every soul is made of the same divine essence, something changes. You stop resisting. You begin to trust. This is what it means to abandon the ego. It's not about erasing yourself. It's about surrendering control and allowing the spark within to guide your path. Not with passivity, but with wisdom. You still act. You still strive. You still work and learn and evolve. But now you're aligned with the all. You've stopped paddling against the current and started flowing with the river. Why does life become so difficult before this realization? Because when you try to control everything with the mind, ignoring the greater source that made you, you create tension. You create resistance. And resistance leads to suffering. But the moment you allow the spark to lead, to speak through your intuition, to move through your actions, problems begin to dissolve. You stop pushing and you start flowing. This is not fantasy. It is the design of the universe. The spark resides within the body, which is its sacred vehicle. That's why we must care for the body, feed the mind, and nourish the spirit so that the divine force within us has the clearest channel to express itself. Many people only reach this understanding through pain, but suffering is not required for awakening. It only arises when we resist the truth that we are the all and the all is us. Imagine a cell in your liver refusing to accept it belongs to the liver. That's the illusion of separation. That's the ego. But once it remembers its place, harmony is restored. This same misunderstanding plays out across the globe. Every act of war, enslavement, abuse, or exploitation brings from the illusion that we are not connected, that we are separate. But here's the truth: when you harm another, you harm yourself, because there is no other. Now ask yourself, what are the qualities we usually attribute to God? Omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. The quantum vacuum in its most fundamental nature exhibits all of these. It is omnipresent because it is in everything. It is omnipotent because it is a field of infinite possibilities. It is omniscient because it is aware of all that unfolds within it. This is not a metaphor. This is reality. The quantum vacuum is God, the creator, the source, the one. To understand this is to understand who we are, where we come from, and what we are capable of becoming. And if humanity were to truly embrace this knowledge, if we taught it in schools, if we lived it in our lives, wars would end, exploitation would end, hunger would end, because we would no longer see others as them. We would see ourselves in all things. Right now, quantum physics remains a topic of mystery and debate, just as Newton's laws once did, and Einstein's theories after him. But as Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, once said, science progresses one funeral at a time. The truth always comes, whether we deny it or not. And one day this truth, the truth of the spark, the truth of the quantum vacuum will no longer be theory. It will be known. It will be lived. And when that day comes, the world will never be the same.